24th of June. We had a meeting with the president of the EFF, Lord Shivambu, Sam Shabalala, and other activists in the VAL, Bomanine Mufukeng, who are also key in the formation of the EFF, particularly in the VAL. The late Pax Hayani. It was on the 24th of June. We can proudly, without being boastful,
yes,
we can proudly say it openly that we are proud to be the founding members of this organization.
Yeah.
We don't claim, we don't want to be seen. Our work speaks for itself, so
yes,
we've contributed a lot. And we've done everything, and whatever that she's alleging that I've done it, it's what we've been doing naturally. So if that is the reasoning, it means that all the sexual activities we've had must be classified as rape between me and her. Because what I did that day is what we've been until the last 2 weeks when we went to court and the matter was struck off the roll. And as we speak, we've got no pending cases against us. I've got no charge against me. I've fetched my bail slip. I'm fetching my passport. And yeah, that's it.
Stage in your life, and according to you, what is it that you think could have led to your departure
from the EFF? Has got nothing to do with him. I know the people that I was fighting. I know the people who are responsible for my downfall. The decision that I took was informed by what I experienced, and I felt it's enough. I need to leave, and no one must try to. But personally, if you are to ask how did that statement make me feel, I was extremely uncomfortable. Because I think it was somehow insensitive. I think he should have known better. When we are busy organizing this huge thing, people are organizing you. You know, you would organize a big march in KZN, and senior leaders who serve in national would say, "No, sifuna ukumbona ukuthi uzophelela phi lo Sindane wakho la kuse KZN asibone," you know. And then that information comes, and then you get to confirm that indeed this thing, man, how can such a leader say this thing, go status inside leveling along with one?
Mashia politically incorrect. We're going to learn some more about this Kader who's here. He's a patriot, he's a fighter, he's a revolutionary, and I could be getting all of those things wrong. Chan, how's it?
No, we're fine, and you?
Sharp, man. Please just tell our audience where you from, so we can discuss your genesis, your origins, as we unpack your politics and what shaped the person that you are today.
No. Thank you for the opportunity. For Lorona Rebemo. You know, tell the side of the story in relation to a whole lot of things that are happening in this country.
Sure.
What are our observations and stuff. But generally, my name is Patrick Sindane. I was born in the Free State in a small town called Daibos.
Daibos?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is now known as Moitrai, Sasolberg, and all that stuff. Then I moved from Free State to Everton at the age of 4.
Okay.
That's where I grew up, and then later Sabotage and stuff. And I attended primary school, go to Tukani Primary School in Zone 12. Did my secondary school in Tutotiro, finished in Gatlo Secondary School. And I've been passionate about politics and what's happening in our communities. I come from the background of the PAC. So, you know, during those times of a struggle, our uncles and brothers were the Abla forces. So as young as we were at the age of 6, 7, coming from school, we would see what is happening in our townships. And from time to time will be the ones that will be utilized to say, you know, after they've dug some holes to try and prevent the Caspars from crossing over, they would dig holes there, put a zinc, pour some little bit of soil, and then put us there as young kids, knowing exactly that when the apartheid regime comes, it might be hesitant in terms of killing young, small kids. Then by the time the Caspers approach, will then run away. One they will think everything is normal and then want to drive, drive over as if there's nothing, only to find out there's a hole there. Then the Casper will fall inside of that hole, and then by the time those Sanzanbali busy trying to see how they can take it out, the guerrillas will climb on top.
Yes.
Do what needs to be done. Yeah. The guerrillas will come on top and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And then that's how we got into the struggle. We knew that we've got some role to play.
Yes.
As little as we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big contingent of African Pan-Africanism in the Val. And it is the home of a lot of. I spoke to Wanda Matlat. Came Africa, and you think all of those things coming from that. I mean, the massacres that has shaped people, Goshabvili, and all of those things would put people together. And there was a big surprise. I remember, I think it's last year when Boisoni Nkosi went to the funeral and surprised a lot of people, Boisoni Nkosi, when he honored the IFP late president, and people from the Val were not very happy. Because they felt like this guy who grew up in Gauteng can never, and is a revolutionary himself, and excuse the pun when I'm always using words like this, people get offended. So his characterization of Mangosuthu Buthelezi Gaja rubbed people the wrong way, because they said, I mean, you come from Gauteng yourself, and coming from the south of Gauteng, you would understand the fights between IFP and the community at the time it was projected. How did it make you feel as you continue to unpack? How does it make you feel, someone who comes from the Valley and who understood the very difficult nature of, we tilted almost on the brink of civil war because of what the role of IFP and the communities in the Valley. How does it make you feel? Of course, we are not ignoring what happened in the East End and some parts of Soweto in the hostels. How did it sit with you?
Well, I think we understand and appreciate things differently. And I appreciate things based on the practical experiences, having witnessed everything that informed some sort of my level of consciousness. It was informed by the realities of our struggles and what our people are going through. And mostly, correctly so, we know exactly what the AFP did in the Val, and correctly so, not excluding the other areas. But we know exactly what the AFP did in Zone 7, what it did in Hostel, Matala Hostel, Sebokeng Hostel. Actually, it was stopped in Sebokeng Hostel. If you follow your history properly, you'll realize that the people who stopped the AFP, it was just closer there to Sebokeng Hospital, Kohutko. But we know exactly the role that the AFP had in our lives, directly or indirectly. And therefore, I think some of the statements requires us to be extremely sensitive, because the wounds are still, it doesn't matter whether it's 20 years, 30 years, they're still fresh, especially politically, because we political animals in Wanamrana, we live this thing on our daily basis. We get an opportunity to make statements, reflect. We've got an opportunity to say things that might influence people's perception about history or the future. So some of the statement requires us to be sensitive, because the families and the people who are affected by such things might hear us otherwise, and it will be too late by the time we want to explain ourselves.
Yes.
We don't have the luxury of time when it comes to certain things. But personally, if you are to ask how did that statement make me feel, I was extremely uncomfortable, because I think it was somehow insensitive. I think he should have known better, that it doesn't matter whether it was for his level of understanding, informed by his research or whatever, or his political view, but the reality of the situation is that no one can take away the realities of what happened in the Val as a result of the IFP by then.
Okay. Yeah, just as we said, the storm has arrived outside. So let's talk about your first political engagements, and which, I mean, it's obvious that you will obviously go towards Pan-Africanism. But what was your formal politics, and how did it start? And as you graduate, just take us through that journey. I'll sit back.
Well, my formal politics started obviously in the PAC as an activist, and then growing up there was a split within the PAC. We are the group that left with Tembagoti, and then I was appointed the regional coordinator of Mfuleni, Sindane as a region, then later appointed the provincial secretary, then later appointed the national spokesperson. When I left the APC in 2013 June, on the 26th of June 2013, when I left the APC, I was the national spokesperson of the APC, and then became part of the EFF, obviously. When I left the APC also, I was a councillor, I was a peer councillor. So when we agreed on the formation of the EFF, during those consultative stages, I remember it was on the 24th of June, we had a meeting with the president of the EFF, Lord Shivambu, Sam Shabalala, and other activists in the VAL, Bumanine Mufugeng, who were also key in the formation of the EFF, particularly in the VAL. The late Pax Khayani. It was on the 24th of June. We were in a building called Standard Bank in Three Rivers, and then we met the president of the EFF together with his collective. So it was a consultative meeting involving different activists around the VAL. So we attended that meeting, and the presentation was made, an idea was sold, and immediately after a few engagements with the leadership, we could realize that this is something worth following. And we made a pledge there and then to say, though some of us might be national leaders in organizations that we come from, we only came here to listen, but were sold. The idea has been sold. We think it's something that is worth being part of. We can start it together, push it. The message sounds extremely convincing. This is something that we thought was lacking by then, because political parties were there, but you would not differentiate. It lacked the fire. There was no spark that would make you want, drive you to even want to go to the extreme in terms of wanting to defend or represent your people.
Sure.
So the idea was a lovely idea, and we felt that we cannot afford to be outside. We need to be part of this new baby that is about to be born. And we even made declarations there and there that some of us are resigning as the councillors and the national spokesman of the APC. I remember very well in the same meeting, the president of the EFF said, no, there's no need for you to resign. This thing is not even there. It's not been registered. We're still planning. So it will be suicidal. We can't pay you. We can't afford to pay you. Some of us have just lost our cars, our farms, and so on. But it was going to be politically incorrect for me to want to, have one leg this side and the other leg this side. We are not known for such things. I didn't want to work for the EFF underground. I'm not a spy in the APC.
Sure.
I believed in the idea. I liked it, and I felt that if I am going to be part of this thing and help build it, I might as well resign here. It doesn't matter whether I lose my salary as a councillor or stuff. I mean, we'll see those things,
sure.
And then he said, no, don't resign. We promised that, no, we won't resign. But then the next 2 days, we resigned, sent emails to say, nah, we can't afford to be behaving like or operating like spies. We resigned, and then life went on. We became the first people to organize a community meeting that was addressed by the president of the EFF. It was held in Zone 13 Sebokeng. The ground on Kowe, the primary school called Kowe. It was organized by myself, Pax, Manini Mufogeng, and Brasem Shabalala. If you follow the history of the EFF, you will see the Sam Shabalala there. We're part of the organizing team, putting together transport, organizing people, and all that stuff. We still even owe some people who gave us buses because we had to make sure that meeting becomes successful.
Yes.
Manini running all over looking for tents and chairs and all that stuff sounds here. But because we knew that this thing can't fail and it has to be introduced, and this is the first meeting, we did everything we can do in our power to make it a successful meeting, and it was successful.
It was organized under what banner at the time?
It was the Economic Freedom Fighters, because the name was already there.
Okay.
The name was already there, even though the logos and all that stuff were not, but the name was already there.
Okay.
And we knew exactly what we were selling to the people.
Yeah.
So, and then after that meeting, we went to the second one, which was in Zamdela Stadium, Sasolburg. A beautiful meeting also, and then boom, that's how now people go to realize that shit, excuse my French, that's when people start realizing that something big is coming.
Sure.
And that's the long and the short of our contribution in the early stages of the EFF.
And it wasn't easy, I suppose. I mean, once you talk about resigning from where your bread is buttered, it automatically tells you how difficult it was. I mean, family decisions had to be made and everything. And you work in the EFF for how many years?
11 years.
11 years.
Yes.
You ascend to Parliament.
11 years.
You do great work in the National Assembly there.
We can proudly, without being boastful, we can proudly say it openly that we are proud to be the founding members of this organization. We don't claim, we don't want to be seen. Our work speaks for itself, so we've contributed a lot. And we've done everything that was humanly possible to shape this organization, introduce it, push it, grow it, make sure that it's successful. The challenges that we overcame, the beautiful moments, we know. We had an opportunity of being deployed to the Gauteng provincial legislatures after the elections, and then we were then deployed to national parliament. So we have a background of governance, we have a background and the organizational memory, EFF, we still have it. Institutional memory is there, governance-wise, we understand what is expected or what was expected from us and all that stuff. So we've played our part really, and it was a very interesting journey. Yeah.
So what do you do now?
Now currently we are in the Patriotic Alliance.
So the reason I'm asking you what do you do now is I'm going to ask you a question that I ask almost everyone. So of those non-negotiable pillars, and I'm asking you deliberately because you spent 11 years there, and that was the most formal and highest structures of any organization you've been. And as a founding father of that organization, you know where you wanted to take it. Of those 7 cardinal pillars that are unnegotiable, which of them have you carried in your bag you want to go and sell to the patriots of South Africa?
Well, I think there's also one thing that before we respond to that, we need to equally speak to. Our departure from the EFF had nothing to do with an organization itself. Or it would mean that we were basically fighting ourselves because we are the founding members of the organization. We'd be fighting our ideas, our baby, our brainchild. So that contradiction needs to be clarified.
Because it's a safe space.
Because you would, even though we're not driven by social media and all that stuff, but you would follow some, useless debates and your name thrown around, and this one left EFF because he wanted to go to parliament. He did not go to parliament. My man, we formed this thing when we were in council. We were already in government. We sacrificed and followed something that had no logo. Why would we want to kill it simply because we wanted to go to parliament? We were in parliament, and the organization honored us, sent us to parliament. We went to parliament. So why would you want to fight it again to go back to parliament? Because you will go to parliament if you're supposed to go to parliament.
Sure.
So those are the things that we, as useless as they are, but if they are left unattended, they might send a wrong perception and a wrong picture painted about you. So I think that's one thing that needs to be understood.
No, let's unpack it in full.
Yes.
According to you, I correctly characterize that that stage in your life, and according to you, what is it that you think could have led to your departure? Because like I say, I talk a lot about a dream deferred in my podcast, because it's inspired by a book that I love very much at Thabo Mbeki. When a dream is deferred, people decide what is it that they do.
Yeah.
And was it a case of the dream that I had? Is it being deferred, and what is to be done? And then you came to a decision on what needs to be done, or it was just you just woke up with a bomb, you can't belong here. Just put it into perspective for us. What had happened?
Our departure from the EFF was extremely personal, more than political. It was extremely personal. It was something that one could not stand or tolerate anymore. And rather than causing havoc and be responsible or contribute towards the downfall of an organization that you help form, wanted to think very hard. And the best solution was for one to leave, because I knew the things that I'm going through within the organization. As much as it would make sense to us to discuss them with the higher leadership, it would still be personal, even if they are within a political space. And I'm old enough to realize that at some stage, one needs to appreciate if you come to a position or situation where you realize that it's either your mental health or the organization. And at the same time, knowing exactly that the battles that you are fighting, even if they are within the organization, they're not political organizational battles. You are fighting certain people who are hell-bent on destroying. It doesn't matter what. So we knew what was happening exactly, and like we've indicated earlier on, some of us, our battles were more personal, even though they happened within the environmental politics. They were more personal because there are people who have already taken a particular posture, a position when it comes to you. And there are incidents where you would organize a very huge event, whether it's a protest or it's a rally. And as you organize the success of this thing, there are people who are organizing the failure of the very same project.
Ish. And
we're not petty leaders that would always want to complain to the president and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We always knew that if we see these signs, get to confirm the suspicions, you might need now to start planning on plan B to say in case this one succeed with this one, we should be able to have plan B and cover the mess, because we didn't want to send a picture that seeks to suggest that there's disorganization in the organization, because at the center it will be me, because I'm the national organizer by then. So, but I would tell you now, without trying to be petty or otherwise, that there are a lot of incidents there where you would organize something and people organize you. When you are busy organizing this huge thing, people are organizing you. You would organize a big march in KZN, and senior leaders who serve in national would say, no, sifuna ukumbona ukuthi uzophelela phi lo Sindane wakho la kuse KZN asibone, and then that information comes, and then you get to confirm that indeed this thing, man, how can such a leader say this thing, go status inside leveling along, can't we not pushing the same thing here?
Ish.
And then I would even say to the leader of that province and say to him, my man, no, you know what, man? Let's have plan B. Let's not unleash all our buses. Let's reserve 10. Then we'll unleash them after 30 minutes or an hour, so that they get a sense that they've won, this thing is about to fail. Then we'll only tell the other 10 buses to say follow. And then they will be shocked, where are these numbers coming from?
Ish.
Then we'll go and lead those people that we told to stay behind. Because we wanted to test, how do you confirm that People are excited. They want to see your downfall, which can be my downfall. My downfall. If something doesn't go well in the organization, the picture that will be painted a bit, as much as it will be me in the forefront as an organizer who's organizing and putting the event together. But what about the brand of an organization, the brand that you are leading, an organization that you claim to love? Why would you go into such things? Who are you really sabotaging me? Is it me, the organization? Is there someone that you are dealing with, but you are trying to use the project that I'm responsible for to try and communicate your message? Or you start realizing, or just as we're dealing with a whole lot of people who've got their own interests separate from what we're trying to achieve. I mean, anyone who's full-time in politics obviously would want to grow. And we would not come here and want to behave like we never, we had no aspirations of leading differently from where we were leading, whether from organizer to another position. But we were satisfied with what we were doing by then, because we knew any deployment, any refueling, it's a contribution to the growth and the success of organization. And we would do it with passion. But you would organize a rally. And then when you organize like the Moses Mabhida rally, people don't know how difficult it was to pull that rally. You know, to a point where the programs of the president, you know, I was responsible for community meetings of the president alone in the EFF. So it's me who was organizing his meetings. So you can imagine you are busy organizing a community meeting, and then he's told that, you know, you must not go to the last one. That meeting is not taking place. Sindane did not organize. And then me now when I'm done, because normally I would organize 3 meetings for the president, 1, 2, 3. When he's done with the second one, I must advance to the last one now.
Leave him there.
And leave him there. And then I'm rushing to the 3rd meeting. And then the president is told, there's no meeting, that thing is collapsing, that did not organize. And then the president does not even know, because he's informed by a senior leadership, or no, the guy did not organize. He passes, he attends certain thing, something, and then he comes. And then when he checks, he realizes, no, man, I was misled. I was told, no, the meeting is not going to materialize. But here are the people, a whole lot of people that he was supposed to be addressing. Now the president has to pass, because he can't just say, hey, you turn here, he will look like he's an amateur. And then we continue addressing the numbers. Then he will then discover, no, man, I was misled. Why would you want to sabotage the program of the president? In the process, you pull up a rally in a province that is known to be difficult, especially for the EFF. Shouldn't be our energy be concentrated in making sure that we fill Moses Mabhida Stadium? But we are working with people who will deliberately sabotage it. I'm not talking gossip.
Yeah.
Deliberately sabotage it to a point where they will sabotage the meetings of the president. To a point where, you know, in the EFF, everything is done from A up until Z in terms of checking numbers, verification, and what. And then my office will also be responsible for that, to verify that these people we have spoken to through door to door have given us their numbers. We call them, verify if they're still attending or they're not sure, and all that stuff. And then that raw data should be stored in an office, because from time to time we'll revisit and check those ones. Well, already they said they are not sure. But during Moses Mabhida, that raw data would from time to time disappear in the office. Disappear, you will put it here in the morning. When you come back the next day, nobody knows where's the box. Go to the ground, organize new numbers, you put them, because the office should be the safest space of an organization. Nobody knows where are the boxes. Later, when now is the time for the president to arrive and the deputy president to arrive, that information that was stolen from the office, the same people who organized that it must go missing are the same ones who are pushing now to say, no, we must ask where is the raw data, so that in the meeting you appear like a person who's misleading the organization. And when you are asked to back up your information, you've got no raw data, and therefore you can't present and say, this thing is informed by this, because the document have been stolen. And then Sindane can't produce. So these are the things that we are dealing with. And you keep quiet. Obviously, you will tell those you feel comfortable talking to. I would not pick up a phone and call the president and say, Commissar so-and-so stole papers. Yeah. But I will tell my immediate, which is the SG and my friends, and say, hey, you know, if one day you happen to come across Maqini, you know, you just have a conversation, he will tell you. A lot of things I shared with Maqini. We've done a whole lot of things together with that guy, to a point that everything, it doesn't matter how small, we'll communicate around it and plan to say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would share such things with him, my frustrations, and say, hey man, kanti manje ukomisa lo wenza njani athi wenze ngithi nakwenza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he will advise, and then we push. But it would go to such level.
It's one of the most difficult things and to understand is the loss of those about 300,000 votes from KwaZulu-Natal for EFF, and I think the easiest thing is it was swollen up by MK. But I think Mushabi himself spoke about the difficulty of KwaZulu-Natal, and consistent with what you say, it was very difficult. And we knew Floyd was deployed in KwaZulu-Natal to go and rebuild structures, they will solidify and reinforce whatever the mission was. And the CIC spoke about how afterthought they started realizing, no man, things were not right, because everything, even the way things were reported, man, it showed them that there's something wrong here. I mean, they could not, certain numbers were, he realized after, that's not me, that's Julius. After that, no man, there was misrepresentation of numbers here. And certain numbers were too correct and too perfect to sell us an idea of a certain kind. I do not understand, because I'm not on the ground, and you came out from the ground. And I remember just before the election, Marshal Dlamini organized this huge march in the CBD of Durban. It was just a sea of red. And I'm one of those who, I even made a podcast about it, to talk about people who were worried about MK eating away EFF numbers. Here the numbers coming from Marshal Dlamini's, that was a huge, that was a huge march, and Moshavi spoke about it recently. What is your reading of the whole thing, and consistent with what you are saying? Are these people, were they working with Floyd to internally sabotage the EFF? What was happening?
Well, I would not be in a correct position to suggest if they were working with him or not.
Yes.
But I will openly tell you the things that I've witnessed myself.
Yes.
Which I've spoken about. Sabotage is sabotage. You might not know who's coordinating, who's the master behind it.
Yes.
But sabotage, if you're a political leader, a person who's trained with a very proper background, those are some of the things you would quickly notice.
You could see.
There's deliberate sabotage. And if you were to ask me if there was sabotage of the EFF in KZN, then I will tell you yes, because I saw it. I witnessed it. This is not third-party information. It happened through me.
Yeah.
I would see, and I've given you at least 2 now events that I was responsible for in KZN, where I saw this thing happening. So, but as to how big it is and who is the leader behind, I would not want to enter that space, because I would not back it scientifically.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about now, what I've just told you, I would back it, because I know it happened under my leadership, under my watch. And I fought it big times, because I would not allow the organization to be sabotaged like that. And even if you thought you were dealing with me, I knew that it can't be me. It is the EFF, and I would have to do everything in my little space also to contribute in making sure that the organization is defended. And KZN was extremely instrumental, as it is even now. Any political party that wants to take itself serious, I'm not saying KZN is some mini heaven, I'm saying each and every political party that wants to take itself serious must break the stronghold of now, which is the MK. If you want to take yourself serious, you seriously need to invest in the KZN, because it remains one of the difficult areas to penetrate, given its background in terms of politics and all those things that me and you are aware of. So it remains a space that requires to be broken into, invested into, make sure that when you say you are a national organization, at least you've got a very strong presence in KZN. And therefore the EFF had to send that message to say when we say we're in I would not speak in past tense because I was there. So basically when we said no, we're a national organization, would have to demonstrate that we're a national organization. And KZN presented that opportunity for those who are in Limpopo are able to see that indeed this is a national organization. And if they can pull huge numbers in KZN, it means this thing is coming correct. So if you hear such utterances coming from the president of the EFF, he was correct, because it's supposed to be like that. You can't claim to be a national organization and not have a presence in all the 9 corners of this country. So KZN remains extremely important.
Yeah, I mean, lots of questions to ask about that, and I deliberately, you see, fighters always fight with me whenever I'm bringing historical
There's no problem.
data.
We're part of history. It's politics.
Yeah.
It's a public institution.
Yes.
Whatever must be discussed is public knowledge. It's
Yes.
there. It's registered as a public a public institution. So
Yeah.
you criticize, you get criticized. You know, it's like that. There's nothing wrong. It's in the nature of politics.
I give them this example that I regard the EFF as the best political party in South Africa. And the African National Congress, it's the barometer with which a lot of things are used as a yardstick. So I will reference a lot of things through the ANC. Like if someone, what is the Central Command, I would say, no, that's the NEC. Yes, you see, because this is where the reference is. And I hope people don't take offense with such things, because I mean, and this I want to show people the reason you find us discussing the EFF a lot is because the EFF is a big organization, and it might not be big to you, or you may not like it when we speak a lot about the EFF, and maybe absence to yours is because the EFF is a big organization, and what you went through has given you experience, and a lot of experience into Motulimutu. I want us to talk about, you were organizing a big historical event in the city of Johannesburg. Mama Winnie's house. I mean, that's there's no one who comes close. I tell people in my podcast that the only other female who tops Winnie Mandela is Harriet Tubman, the lady who ran and championed the Underground Railroad in the USA. Yeah, because she's the only one who I can say she's above Winnie Mandela. That's according to my own credentials. But Winnie, I mean, she said, and I will do a podcast fully dedicated to Winnie. And it was a historical moment when you were trying to launch it. And at the time, you did not know there were daggers drawn, ready to stab your back. And you were, I mean, you were focused on the work without knowing there are people at your back. And it was at the eve of your, I don't want to say downfall, but the beginning of your downfall. Explain it and draw a picture for us to understand.
No. I think that was the opening of the Winnie Madikizela house.
Yes.
The headquarters of the
Yes.
Well, it was we're organizing a very beautiful event. I think
I know that's
your records will still show you
that's
remains one of the beautiful events of the EFF. But like I was saying, there are situations where you're organizing for the success of the organization. But the same people you're organizing with, some of them are organizing you. You know, when I was busy organizing this thing, days before the rally, there were meetings held, people organizing my downfall, so that the day of the opening, building, does not become, the speech does not center around the beautiful message of the president, but it's centered around the allegations that involves the national organizer. So part of the plan was that when he reads his speech down there, more the headline, more TV, there should be lines, Patriotic, Sindane accused of rape and all that thing. And then it loses that beautifulness.
It dilutes
the message that must go to the people. So unfortunately, that's what happened. I will openly tell you that I know for a fact that when I was busy organizing that event, people were organizing me. Unfortunately, I did not know by then, or else I would not be in that situation. But we only discovered that while I was busy organizing, people were organizing me. They knew what they were doing. And part of the reasons when we dig further, we realized that it was that number one is that might be a disturbance towards the conference of the students, because I was a commissar deployed to the student command of the EFF by then. And then, so I was identified as a force that is not friendly to the other force, which I don't know which force is that, but I would assume is the one that is responsible for dealing with me. And then, I was identified. And second was that, me and Mgcini, we've always been accused of trying to be, as if we want to appear like we're favorites. People will even hate you for working. So if you work hard, they will tell you that, this one wants to be the first favorite of the president. And I don't know how do you become a commissar and serve in such a high structure and still have your mind being occupied by such nonsensical thoughts, to say a leader that works honestly and hard, because that's what is expected out of all of us who are serving in the higher structure, to work honestly and serve the organization with all our might. And that's what is expected. I mean, that's what brings us together anyway. After that, life is normal. You go mind your business, I mind mine. But people will hate you on the basis of what is supposed to bring you together. When you push your work and focus on what you are expected to do, you are classified as this one is trying to channel himself as a favorite of the president. I mean, I've never had a personal conversation with president about water, coke, or Kaiser Chiefs. Why would I want to position myself? If there is such politics, it is already there. It was done 2013 when we formed the organization. I don't need to remind him who am I in the EFF. It's there. But my obsession is not friendship with the president. My obsession is numbers, growth of the organization, to ensure that this thing, it reaches where we want to, at least in our lifetime. If we don't get to experience what we want to achieve, those who are, nicely taking it over should be able to be proud of the work that we invested in the organization. But you will have people who will hate you for that. To a point that even when you organize a rally in their province, they will do everything to sabotage their own program. I'm not telling you stories. You will have senior leaders of the province sabotaging their own programs, and even sabotage leaders that are deployed to regions, coming from national to go and address that. They will call a meeting and say, this one we're going to show him, or withdrawing forces. No one must attend that meeting. When he comes and speaks there, I must never find people. And then if it's their favorite, in invited commas, then the numbers will then be pushed, so that it appears as if, hey, this one, hey, I want to buy Amtan. We've seen those things. But would correct and say, no, you can't do this to leaders who are in organization. You are not embarrassing the lead, you're embarrassing the organization. If a community meeting doesn't sit, but you claim that we've got a launched branch, but people who attend the meeting but 18, what does it mean to the people when it comes to the face, the organization, the strength or time to trying to demonstrate? You're not sabotaging the person you think, oh, I'm sabotaging. You're killing your own organization. And also lowering your reputation in the process will be compromised, because you'll be known as a leader that can't pull numbers and pull a simple community meeting because you wanted to sabotage your own person. I would tell you about that big rally that we pulled in FNB Stadium. Underground, we fought a lot of battles, and are not battles that we're fighting against the ANC. It's battles that we're fighting within the people, the hosting province. People who are hosting the rally, they will do everything in their power to sabotage this one, and will have to stop, cover their nonsense, not report this, because we knew ultimately at the end this thing will be successful, with or without them, because it's us who are in charge of the ground. So it means whatever we're doing on the ground, we'll have to do it double, because we can already see what is coming. And that's how, one thing that we'll have to appreciate about ordinary members of the EFF. Those who have received the message very well and understood it, they will execute it the way it's supposed to be executed, if not more. And then you'll learn to appreciate that you are having at least people who are loyal and committed, because others don't want to grow with the organization. They want to be leadership quickly. And in their process, it will even include killing and destroying people who were there before them, because it looks like the waiting queue might be longer. So on our way, we'll have to process this one so that we reach here. And it doesn't really matter. Some of the things that are unavoidable. Once they've marked you and they master that game, they will deal with you. And it's just a matter of time. So unfortunately, it happened to me, and I'm living testament. I mean, I saw it with me. What we can confidently tell you and the viewers is that those allegations are not true. You know, I've been going to court for the past 4 years now. My matter was never heard. Every time I had to appear in court, I would be coming from KZN, drive the whole night, not even fly. Drive the whole night, sleep 2 hours, go to court. When the court is finished, drive back to KZN. Every time I go to court, I will be in Eastern Cape, in East London. Drive, leave deployment, drive the whole night, go to court straight, then go back home. My partner will tell you, every time, there's never been a situation where I go to attend the case and I slept in my home peacefully. It was the first time in the last 2 weeks. It was the first time and I slept peacefully. Because every time you go there, you would be in a deployment. And you would not want to say to the organization, hey, I need to leave 4 days before and go prepare. I knew that there's this expectation, but equally there's also the issue of life and death. And I would have to strike a balance. And it means I will have to stretch myself. And stretching myself will mean denying myself enough hours of sleeping, you know, exhausting my body just to make sure that I cover this side, there's no mess, because also you're working with people here, mostly you trust, but others who are responsible for very critical things, you can't leave them for more than 3 days unattended, because when you come back, you might find the whole thing collapsing. So you would have to juggle around. So those are the things until the last 2 weeks when we went to court and the matter was struck off the roll. And as we speak, we've got no pending cases against us. I've got no charge against me. I've fetched my bail slip. I'm fetching my passport. And yeah, that's it. But it comes with the environment. It comes with the game.
Politics is tough.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of us are not used to that game. I can't play that. I would never do such to a person. I would never wish anything like that to anyone. We don't want to behave like we're messiahs. There are people who are doing us wrong. Maybe there are people who equally have done wrong, but would want to believe that whatever wrong we've done have always been organizational.
Yeah.
No one can stand up in a meeting of the EFF and say Sindane has done me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No one. In my 11 years in that organization, I can boldly stand up, take a loud tailor that I always used to take, run around the country. I can take it and ask a question and say, who did I personally wrong in this organization? And you can correctly tell me that this thing was personal. No one. Our fights have always been about numbers. Why are you lying to me and say you've got 5 buses full? When I verify your numbers, I'm only giving you 1 bus. How do you lie to a meeting presided over by the president? But on top of that, I would not just fight you. In the morning, I would take my mobilization team that I was responsible for and say, let's go and help this fighter because it's about the organization. Unleash them there, and then they will come with the buses that are required. Verify them still. I would not say because it's a special team, they won't lie to me. We would organize, work the ground to get. I would also go there personal. I would never ask people to do something that I've never done. I do door-to-door myself. I verify myself. I do everything. I low tail. I do postering. And most of them, they will even say, no, but we're supposed to be dealing with the, admin of this thing, checking it. I'm not that type of elite.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. If they want your head, they would go for you. You must just be ready.
I've spoken to Comrade Abel Tau. Who went through, I think he's still going through the most difficult time of his political career, based on similar allegations that he I don't want to say evaded because it sounds bad, that he successfully proven that it didn't happen. But he didn't prove it in court. So that thing will always hang on him. And that's the most unfortunate thing. DJ Fresh and DJ Euphonic lost their careers because of something like that. And what you are saying you are going through, Tau has gone through. Of course, the extent would be different. I just want to ask you, because DJ Fresh attempted, and the other guy, Toles Mo, attempted, but all of them could not, even when their name is safe, could not go against the person who alleged them to have done wrong in a way that they, well, is it recourse? I don't know. But how difficult is it after someone wrongs you to go after that person to make sure that because tomorrow it will be Mashiach. Yes, because what we do, there's a saying in politics that because it was happening to the communist, it won't happen to us. And it fetches us one by one. One day it will be happening to me, and I'll regret I did not raise my voice when it was happening to you. So I just want to understand, have you made an attempt to find this person and correct a wrong? Have the authorities supported you in doing that? And are you comfortable to name and shame? What's your space around it? Or you just want to close this chapter because it was difficult and you don't want to say much?
No, it's a very difficult chapter of one's life, and it would require you to be very strong, and even the strong sometimes are out of strength. And that's why I've engaged my legal team to check what's next, what can be done. I don't think it's enough just the matter has been struck off the roll and then that's it. Striking off the roll does not mean it has been withdrawn. I wish it's said and we get to tell the story of what happened. That way it will clarify everything. So if it's just struck off the roll, it does not clear me 100%. It's just been removed there, but the story was never told. I'm more interested in telling the truth, and I think she must be offered an opportunity to tell her truth. Then I must be offered the opportunity to tell my truth, and I'll be very happy if they consider re-enrolling the matter so that it's closed properly, because I want to talk, but I want to talk in a proper platform so that I don't say things here driven by politics and stuff, and then later get to be misunderstood in court. But if you want to know how I feel, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like it could be re-enrolled so that me and her get an opportunity to speak. Because in that process, she'll be able to tell as to exactly what happened and who are the people behind this. Because I can confidently tell you no court of law will find me guilty of anything because I've done nothing. And I'm not telling you because I want sympathy. I've got the records, I've got the hard evidence that shows that I've done nothing wrong except what I've been accused of. And what I need is just an opportunity to clear my name. And you strike it off a roll and then they can just leave it for 5 years. It has not cleared me. Just give me that allowance to breathe. But I would want it to end in court. Unfortunately, my man, this thing happened 2021 as an allegation, September 26. I only got charged the one that December 2021.
In 22.
I was charged 2023. Yeah, because the allegation is that 26 September, and then she opened the case, got the one that December. Then I was charged around June, March 2023. So why all this thing, I can't tell you. Why such a long time to charge me and all those things and stuff. The things that I suspect, I've shared them with my legal team, and some of them we've confirmed to a point that she had to be put under pressure to say, you must go and open it now. Go and open it now, and then eventually she had to open. But the fact, me and her, we know for a fact that really we've been in a relationship here 2 years, and whatever that she's alleging that I've done it, it's what we've been doing naturally. So if that is the reasoning, it means that all the sexual activities we've had must be classified as rape between me and her. Because what I did that day is what we've been doing. The few weeks and a month before, me and her were in Durban for 8 days, organizing that big rally at Phoenix, a march at Phoenix. She was with me there for 8 days. So it means also in those 8 days I must have done what she's accusing me of doing, and then you put that together for 2 years. And I know the feminists would want to say it does not mean because it's your partner, you can't rape your partner. We know there are a lot of things that have been said around rape. But there's one critical thing that we must also talk about, to say As much as we are so serious as a nation when it comes to rape, we must equally be so serious against false rape allegations. And people who are found to have wrongly and knowingly accusing people of things that they have not done, especially rape, must face the same punishment that this one who was accused, only to find which there's no such, must face the same punishment. The law must be seen to be equal. Because I get accused, and if I'm sent to jail, I will serve my time. But if I'm wrongly accused, and knowingly that you are wrongly accusing me, and then you are just let free just like that, what kind of a society are we trying to shape? Are we not breeding angry and dangerous men for no reason, who are angry with every woman? We get shocked when certain things are happening. I'm not justifying things. I'm talking from an experience. Sometimes you are just beaten angry because you know that